doing, boy?
What you doing, boy?
Boy.
It's Thursday night, and we're recording a podcast for tomorrow.
Yeah.
So
That's how it
dedicated
goes.
we are.
That's how it goes.
It's our life right now.
Basically. How are you today?
I'm good.
Yeah?
Yeah. I worked a lot
Yeah.
physically and non-physically.
Physically and non-physically.
Yeah, like sitting on the computer working.
Also.
It's non-physical work.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. But it was a good day.
Was it? It doesn't sound like it. You
It
seem very
It was a good day.
melancholy.
No, I just want to eat something and chill.
You know, you could have eaten something and then we could have
I
recorded.
already ate something.
So
Yeah.
you want to again eat something?
Yeah.
You want to eat more?
I want to eat more.
Okay.
Yeah. Since it's summer and my Facebook, memory?
Mm-hmm. On this day.
Keeps showing me memories from like the trip to the US I took 5 years ago. Wait, 2016.
6 years ago.
6 years ago. I thought it would be funny to talk about traveling, but see it more like as traveling alone versus traveling with people.
Mm-hmm.
And Danielle said, no, that's a stupid idea. So that's why we are talking about graveyards today.
Gray ferrets?
Graveyards.
Oh.
Graveyards.
I thought you said gray ferrets.
I said graveyards. Graveyards. Yard.
You can travel to a graveyard. It's the last trip you'll take.
That's true. If you wanna
Unless you're visiting.
be buried there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'd rather talk about gray ferrets.
Yeah. A lot of people don't know, but those are ferrets who live on the graveyard who dig you out and eat your skin.
Not grave ferrets.
Oh.
Gray.
Oh, gray ferrets. That's a complete different thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, let's get into the topic. Let's talk
do
about
it.
traveling alone. Can
Yeah.
we start?
I mean, I don't have that much experience traveling alone.
I have only one experience.
I have traveled with one other person. I've traveled with a group of people. And
I mean, technically you traveled here alone.
Sure. I mean, that's my biggest thing, I guess. I moved here alone. So I guess it's traveling.
But also you visited
But I
here.
also visited. That's true.
So I count that as traveling alone because you traveled alone.
Yeah. But I see traveling alone as like you travel to a destination alone. You don't know anybody there.
Mm-hmm.
And you're like exploring on your own.
Mm-hmm.
But I haven't really ever done that. In terms of traveling. Like I've
The
gone
thing is-
places alone.
I wanted to. Wait. The cable is very,
What are you doing?
Just give it a little more.
So is the cable pulling?
Yeah.
I see. Sorry.
When I went to Portland, I only knew you. So that doesn't, it counts a little bit. But then when I went to San Francisco for the second week,
Mm-hmm.
I thought I would be alone the whole week.
You ended up
And
finding people that you knew from a tiny town in Austria. How
not
weird
from a
is
tiny
that?
town, but friends
Yeah.
who live in Austria and who were there at the exact same time.
It's so funny.
But I didn't do like things with them every day. So I saw Raffi and her now husband twice, I think.
Mm-hmm.
And Michael I saw also twice, like once at night, quick, and then we went to Palo Alto, which was nice. But yeah, other than that, I was basically on my own, and it was actually very nice.
Yeah.
Just going somewhere where you have never been before and trying to figure things out. Obviously, with Google Maps and stuff, it's kind of easy to get a little bit of an idea of where you are and how maybe the streets look and whatever. But being there, and especially in a big town like San Francisco, where you don't get the scale if you have never been there, and especially when you come from like a tiny ass country like Austria, where you drive there and you think like, oh, it's just 4 or 5 blocks. Oh man, that takes a while. I mean, it's the same in New York or Chicago.
In New York, I think it's worse than in San Francisco. You walk a city
disagree.
block and it takes you like 10 minutes.
I disagree, because in Chicago you have the elevations. So I
you
think
mean
it's
San Francisco?
Yeah, that's what I mean. San Francisco, yeah, you have the elevations.
Not much elevation in Chicago.
Yeah. No, but Chicago and New York, it's basically flat. So when you say, hey, let's walk those few blocks in San Francisco, you might end up going up quite a bit. But it was kind of fun. I got a car and I explored a lot with the car, just drove around, saw some cool, the spots that you need to see when you are in San Francisco. And we also went to the Redwood Forest and like Palo Alto in Silicon Valley, which was really cool. Seeing like the Meta headquarters and Stanford University was pretty cool. I don't know, and I guess the best or the most liberating thing about the whole experience is you can't rely on anybody
but yourself.
And with that comes a lot of like sense of adventure and at the
accomplishment.
Same time, and at the same time you end up talking to more people. Like when you are in a group with people or with other people together, you have someone, you talk to someone all the time and you have someone to rely on. But when you're alone, you end up talking to more people and being more open, because you don't want to be alone all the time, or at least feel like you're not. So I think that was the most, that was the coolest thing about the whole thing. And also, I mean, the fact that you just can do whatever you want to do. You don't have to ask or to say, hey, I'm doing this now. You just do it if you feel like it. And that was kind of cool, because when you travel with someone, or with boyfriend, husband, or girlfriend, or partner, or friends, whatever, family, you kind of have to, especially in holiday, you have to, be a little flexible what they want to do, and see that they get what they want to do, and vice versa. So there's your freedom, so to say, is a little, I don't know. Hindered. Yeah. I don't know. I don't like that word, but yeah, you get what I want to say. Yeah.
Yeah.
Something to add to that?
Not really, because I haven't done that. Like the biggest solo adventure I had, which is a big, not to like diminish it, but the biggest solo adventure I had is moving here. And that was exciting in its own way, but not the way that like travel is exciting, because there was also a lot of stress added with it, and a lot of fear and a lot of anxiety.
No, you can't
really compare them.
You can count that really to but I don't know, just to end the. But
I think I'd be good at traveling alone, because I like navigating around new places. And even as a kid, like my family and I and my brother, we went to China, and I was like 12 or 13, and I was always like such a confident kid that I would just figure shit out So
especially in China where you can't read
you can't speak the language, you can't communicate with people.
You can't read any signs.
You can't read any signs, yeah. But I was always like figuring shit out. And that's, I don't know. I think it's a skill
that's
that
why
I
you
have.
got abducted a couple of times
Yeah.
as a kid. A fun story in San Francisco. So there's this rule where you can park on certain streets during the weekdays. And the other side of the street, usually you can't park during the day.
Yeah, it usually switches.
Right, because it usually gets cleaned. When you stay on the side that gets cleaned, you get a big fine.
Yeah.
And they tow you, I think. So we were sitting in this gay bar because I was staying in the Castro district, not on purpose. It was an accident, but a nice accident. I didn't know that was the gay district. But it was funny because when I got there, I figured it out pretty fast.
Yeah.
But so we're sitting there in during happy hour. So me and two friends, and drinking. It was like 6:30 or something, and I was like, God damn it, I need to move my car. So I got out there, got in my car, and moved to the right spot where I was allowed to stay for the night. And I was, first of all, I was drunk already, so that was not smart to drive drunk. But so I moved the car, and the next day I got out and I had a ticket on. So I moved it to the right spot, but not to a spot where I was allowed to stay. It was the right side of the street, but not
in the right spot.
Right. So I thought, fuck, that's like, I was like $80 or $90. So it was a pretty big fine. So I looked online. So I Googled it and looked, oh, there's a DMV like, I don't know, 10, 15 minutes away. Maybe I'll try it. So I went down there and went in, and they say, yeah, they can give me an appointment with like in one of their offices, and I can talk to them. And I said, yeah, that's great. Yeah, we need your passport since you're like a tourist. I was like, God damn it. So I drove back, got my passport, drove there again, and got an appointment, waited for like an hour or hour and a half, something like that. Got an appointment and eventually talked the officer out of the ticket. Nice. He was like, since you're a tourist and since you don't know, the rules of the city, you
took the time to like go down there and talk to them about it, which most people wouldn't do. So,
but there was a nice thing that, when you were traveling with someone, you probably don't do, because then you have plans and they want to see things, they want to do some things. You usually don't do that, but it was a kind of nice experience to figure that out. And
said no one else ever about the DMV.
Actually, the thing is, it's funny, but the experience wasn't that bad. So it was like in the movies where you went in and got like this number.
Yeah, you get a ticket.
Right. And so I had to wait in this tiny ass room, and it was pretty hot. But eventually...
The DMV is always hot.
Eventually...
Even in winter.
Eventually the talk went pretty well, and the officer, like an older black guy, a pretty cool dude, was very nice, and it was a pretty fast thing. So it took me like 5 to 10 minutes once I was in there.
Nice.
Yeah. But yeah, that was a nice experience. But let's get to traveling with someone. And for me, I mean more like with a group of people, because traveling, with your partner is something that a lot of people do anyways. That's not that special, but like with a group of people, because that's more the opposite of one, like solo.
Yeah, I mean, group of people. We traveled to Amsterdam
with a group of people.
With a group of people, so 2 other couples. So there were 6 of us, and we went in 2019, I think. We went to Amsterdam and we saw my brother, which was really nice. And I mean, overall, that was a really nice trip. Like,
I just want to say,
there was no clashes with the group. Granted, it was short. It was like a couple days.
It was a weekend.
But still, I mean, there's a lot to do in Amsterdam. There's a lot to see if you want to see like certain museums or things that's, yeah. But
Very
I feel like
uncomplicated. Have you
we did
never traveled with someone, like with a group? I
not
feel like you
a
traveled with
group.
someone to San Francisco, like with a
I
group.
mean, yeah, but that was also a scheduled. It was when I was working with the corner house.
Yeah, but still.
And it was all the corner house peers, basically. And
so you were living with them already, so you know who
no, only two of them.
Also,
they didn't all live there. But
that can cause some problems.
I've never been the one for like drama and stuff. But
matter.
But I try to like distance myself from it. So there was a lot of drama with some of the people in the groups where like they wanted to go do something and the other group didn't. And
so yeah, but that's what I mean. I think that's. But
my thing with that group though, that whole trip was very scheduled, so it was like there were things we had to do while we were there because it was partially for work and partially for fun.
Okay, so you never had like a really bad experience with that traveling?
Not really.
I haven't, like, it wasn't that bad, but it was,
but I'm also typically an easygoing traveler. Like I like to see things and I like to go do things, but I'm also not super particular.
But that's exactly what I mean, because when you, at least for most people, when you travel somewhere, when you go somewhere, first of all, you want to have some downtime, chill, do nothing, and just relax, which is fine. And especially when you go somewhere where there's like a lake or an ocean, you typically are like on the beach. But when you go somewhere and there's a person with your group that doesn't want to do nothing but lay in the bathtub the whole day and then stay just inside the house that you rented, that's something that you don't expect. And that happened to me in 2014, I think. We were a group of 8 and it was a fun trip, but there was clearly a very, like basically after 2 days, there were 2 groups. The one group who wanted to be out of the house pretty early in the morning and do stuff, go to the beach, go see things. And the other group who stayed in the house like until 12:30 and then eventually either met us somewhere or did something. And the whole trip was a little weird because, I mean, the first evening was, I don't know did I ever tell that story in a podcast?
I don't know what you're about to say.
The story about how we ordered food in the first night and it never came.
No, I don't think you've told that story.
I mean, it's a fun story. So we drove to Croatia with 2 cars, so that we had like a bus, like a VW bus, and the second car was like a smaller car. So we drove there. I think we started I feel like we started like early in the morning, like 2 or 3 in the morning we drove there. That's like a typical time to go there. And we got there at like, I don't know, 1 or 2 in the afternoon. So typical driving time. And we rented out this house, which was very nice. So in the first day, we didn't really do much, I think.
Doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter. I don't remember, but I don't know why, but we might even went to the beach on the first day because we got to the restaurant very late. And it might also be that I mix up the times right now and I don't know. Doesn't matter.
So far, great story.
Yeah. So first night we got to the restaurant very late. It was like 10, not that late, but like 10:30 or something. And there were a lot of people there, and so we sat down. Oh, by the way, in that area, in the specific area, I was many times before, as like with my parents, with family, so I knew some good restaurants down there. But the one person said, "Oh no, I found this on Google. It has very good ratings. Let's go there." And I said, "Sure, why not?" Even though I was a little pissed, I have to say, because it's like I know things down there, but doesn't matter. So we went there 10:30. We ordered food and drinks, and the drinks came like 30 minutes later. That was already a sign. So it was 11, And we waited, and nothing came.
Mm-hmm.
And then like 45 minutes, it was way after 11. We asked the waiter, "Hey, we're still waiting on our food." And at this point, the
kitchen's probably closed.
Nah, the kitchen was still open, but the people started to leave, and
Mm-hmm.
it got empty. And they said, yeah, no, it's done soon. We waited another 20 minutes, nothing. And then we looked at each other and said, hey, let's just go. We just put the money for the drinks on the table, and then we go. And we decided that we will do that. So 2 people went out to the parking lot and started the cars and backed out of the parking space, and then we ran. We just collectively ran for the cars.
I mean, the thing is, you didn't have to run. If they're that late with bringing out your food, it's perfectly admirable to even pay for your drinks and just walk out.
We ran, and they followed us. They ran out onto the parking lot, and I remember I jumped into the car, and the bus, and she started driving. Who drove the bus? And Toby also jumped into the bus while it was already rolling. It was like straight out of a movie, and we drove off. And I remember that night I was so anxious because I thought, oh shit, what is if they call the police? And then I started Googling things, what you do, what you get like fined or go to jail for in Croatia. But that was the first night, and it kind of was the same after that. Like, it was a lot of clashes, a lot of, hey, let's do that. No, I don't want to do that. Let's do that. No, we don't want to do that. Thankfully, we had 2 cars, so we were able to, do more separate things. But one thing I took away of the whole thing is sometimes it sounds funny to go on a trip with friends. But if you don't really know them well in the sense of how they want to spend their holiday, then you should at least talk with them before.
I mean, it's the same thing in a relationship. It's the same. If you have not been with that person long enough, or known the person long enough, then traveling, be cautious, because it can be really bad.
Yeah. It's so funny because, every one of us has like their typical holiday. Like if someone says, hey, let's go to Italy or Greece or whatever, and like at a beach holiday, then you have a mental image in your head of how this thing will be or might be. But and some people don't have that, obviously, so there are different expectations of how a holiday can be planned out and stuff. But to spend most of the time in a bathtub in the middle of summer and just inside the whole time is something that I never encountered, and I never thought someone would do. So my takeaway is,
you don't necessarily need to ask people, are you just gonna be in the bathtub?
No. But like, if you go with friends for the first time on a holiday,
sure,
you can at least talk in beforehand, like, hey, is there something you want to do, or what you want to do most, or do you want to spend your time on the beach most of the time, or do you want to see things? Just get an understanding.
For me, the thing is, the people that I would choose to travel with are people that I know like doing the kinds of things that I like to do. So, but if I were traveling with a newer group of people or people I didn't know as well, I would probably, even before asking them if they want to come with or planning it, just say, we're going here, and so we can do some sightseeing and some, like kind of hype up already what we want to do. And then by the time you ask them, they already have the expectation, okay, this is the kind of trip they want to have. Do we want that kind of trip too?
No, I agree. Yeah, that's the way to do it. Yeah, it's funny. It's fun to be away on holiday with people, but I think in a way it's stressful because you it can be stressful. Not it is stressful. It can be stressful because you have to think of them most of the time. If you, for example, share a car, or if you don't have a car, so you're stuck there, or you rent the car together, you have to be very flexible and also think of them almost on every move, you know?
Well, I think it's also important for someone to kind of take over the role of like trip leader, if you want to call it that. Not necessarily saying this is what we're going to do, but just being the person who's like initiating the conversations, like what should we do today?
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Which usually
or what do you guys want to do today? And then you can figure out your day before it starts.
Yeah.
But no, I've never really traveled. I traveled with my family a lot. Yeah. So like my parents and my brother, that was so fun.
I know.
We did like cross country road trips. That shit was awesome.
Yeah.
But either we would like one trip we literally did cross country where we drove, I think mostly southern route or kind of Midwest route a little bit. But we drove through so many different states. We camped while we were driving, so instead of staying in hotels we would just camp the whole time, which I know does not sound fun to you, but it was awesome. And we drove all the way to California.
Wow.
And back.
Wow. Oh wow.
I mean, it was cool.
That was cool. Sounds cool.
It took, I think we were traveling for like 3 weeks or something, maybe 4.
Sounds cool.
It was really, really fun. And of course there were some really horrible things too, like camping in the Mojave Desert, which, you know, deserts are known for obviously being hot, but in the night, but in the night, yeah, that's why I said and obviously.
At night it gets very cold.
And in the night it gets very cold.
Yeah.
But when we were there, it was like 109 degrees at night while we were sleeping. Yeah. And we had these teeny tiny pup tents. So my mom and I shared a tent, and my dad and my brother shared a tent because they take up less space then. And they're really easy to set up and take down. It was so hot. My dad slept on the picnic table.
Sleep in a fucking desert.
It was so fun. It was scary as fuck because every time you walk, you have to constantly look where you're walking because there's like really venomous scorpions and there are signs all over the park.
Yeah, then you know they do that because they have to.
No, they don't. You can see them. There are snakes. There are spiders. There are scorpions.
Have to talk to them. Like, hey, scorpion, you don't bite me.
But my dad. Hey, I didn't interrupt any of your rambling stories. Not once.
Hey, rambling. I would say tangent. Keep going.
But so we only stayed one night in the Mojave, I think, maybe 2. But my dad slept on the picnic table because it was just so hot and he couldn't stand being in the tent. And when he woke up in the morning, it's like he was surrounded by wild donkey. They were just like on our campsite and they were just like looking at him on the table.
Maybe he was smelling funny.
It was awesome. And they had like this one teeny tiny little grocery store. It was like a food and stuff, but for the campground basically, so you could just go get supplies if you needed something. And they had this little pond that was full of koi fish.
Koi fish.
Koi fish, or some similar kind of fish, but I think they were koi fish. And we went into the shop, and the shopkeep, if you call them that still, said that they really like popcorn. So if you get popcorn, you can go feed them. And they went so fucking nuts for that popcorn. It's like the highlight of the time in the Mojave. But that was fun. And we did lots of road trips back to Maryland to visit family and friends. We did that a lot as kids. That was fun.
Sounds fun.
And China, obviously. China was amazing.
Our family holidays. Went to Greece, Croatia a lot. That was fun.
China was really fun. My dad hated it, but I mean, the thing is, he says he hated it, and I think he has some really bad memories from China, but I think overall, I think it's exaggerated that he hated that trip. I think deep down, he liked it. I mean, it was amazing. Again, there were multiple things that were shitty, but we traveled so much and saw so many different things that a lot of people won't get to see in a lifetime, which is really cool. We got
also
to see a lot of
nowadays
things.
with China being so restrictive and also dangerous in a lot of sense.
Well, and then too, you know, we didn't have smartphones. It was like real traveling because you're walking around not knowing anything, not being able to talk to anybody.
It sounds like super stupid to, like, nowadays.
Sure, it
sounds very stupid to do that.
I still think, that's still a thing, something that I'd want to do. Granted, with smartphones now, it's a little harder to have that experience.
Yeah, I don't want to be sent to a country without anything but a map.
Not sent to.
No, I know, not
you
sent to.
You choose to go somewhere.
Obviously, but still, I want to have a smartphone. I want to be able to navigate in different situations if I need to.
But that's the thing is, there is a very special, it's a different kind of travel, and it feels so much more adventurous if you go. I'm not saying you walk around with a map, but it's more about trying to communicate with the locals there.
And think of Italy.
And
that's exactly
figure out where you want to go next. Yeah, but even in Italy, we had, you know, our phones to tell us, okay, we want to see this place, or here's this cool place. We stumbled across, I think, one place. Yeah. But when you travel without all of that stuff, you're constantly stumbling on. But
that's what we did.
Exciting
things. Bigger towns, we just went through and looked for stuff. We didn't necessarily Google or something.
Yeah, but we didn't look for it. We just walked through the towns, which was lovely.
Some cool things. Yeah.
But I don't know. It's just a different experience if you go without any of that
stuff.
Do
it. I dare you.
I mean, I did it already.
No, do it again. If it's so different and cool, I dare you. Do it.
I mean, I would do it.
I'll take away your phone and I send you off.
Because you would feel comfortable sending me off without any way to contact me.
And with the $1, you can call me on a payphone. Mm-hmm. Or I give you an emergency phone.
The thing is, these days as a woman, I wouldn't travel alone, probably.
You can travel to some countries. Sure.
I don't know.
I dare you. Do it. Come on. Go.
Speaking of travel, we are traveling soon.
Yeah, we said that the last time.
Yeah, I know. But it's exciting.
Yep.
I'm excited about it.
We should end the episode. It's long.
Yeah, because you rambled the entire I talked for a total of 10 minutes in this episode.
Yeah. About your donkey trip.
Yeah.
Everybody.
Yeah, you told some really long story about how you just paid for your drinks that, you know, like how
it wasn't that long.
How exciting. You paid for drinks.
Hey. It wasn't that long.
It was really long.
It wasn't that long.
It was really long. It was a solid 10 minutes. It
felt long because you knew the story already.
No, I didn't know that story.
Yeah,
or at least I didn't remember the story. Multiple times. You probably told me once. You're always the one who says that you shouldn't repeat stories, so you can't tell me. You don't like it when I tell you something twice. If I tell you something that I've already told you,
told me that
you
already,
cut me off and you're like,
no.
You told me that already. I know this story.
Psst. We're going to end the podcast now.
Okay.
Everybody, follow us on social media and here on your podcast platform. Subscribe, rate the podcast on Apple Podcast or Spotify, and share the podcast if you like what you're listening. If you're listening what you like.
If you like what you're listening to.
Oh, yeah. That's it.
That's it.
Bye.
Watch out for deer.